my last paycheck. And like I said, I was single, living on my own. I had no help from my family. I'm not close to my family at all. I lost my apartment. Luckily, was able to defer a car payment, so I didn't lose my car. And luckily, had a friend that took me in. But I had $100 in my bank account. And I had to go to the Legal Aid Society in Florida, where we are. At least there is an organization, Legal Aid Society, which helps people of low income with legal matters. And when I went to see the lawyer who ultimately helped me, she reviewed my case. She said, absolutely, you have a case. You have a case of sexual harassment. You should call this number. But she said to me, you're not going to be able to prove it. And it's going to take a lot of time. And he's going to fight back. And you're not going to be able to prove it. You have the case, absolutely, but he's going to fight back. He obviously is someone who's aggressive enough to not just let you go because he stole your paycheck. So it basically wasn't worth it for me to follow through.
But what crap is that the legal aid woman, the lawyer sitting in front of you, says, yes, you have a case. But really...
But don't do it.
But don't do it. Don't do it. You're not going to win, and even that... That's a person who's working on your behalf, and she tells you, for this very reason, I mean, this is her job, this is what she does, she wants to help people and fight this, and yet, don't do it. It's not worth your time, it's not worth your energy, he's going to drag you through the mud. Okay, that is the that's the foundation we're dealing with.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's the system. It's the system that we're supposed to be able to go to help us.
To help us, and yet we're getting doors shut in our face. Now, I'm not saying that's every time, but that happened to you. I'm sure it's happened to many other people.
Absolutely.
You're not the only one who has been told you have a case, but let's not try it. Let's not do it.
Right. It's going to cost so much money and so much time, so much emotional stress. It's not worth it ultimately.
And I mean, you're one of probably very few women who actually even go and take legal action.
Yeah.
And look
honestly,
at that.
I would not have done that if he hadn't taken my money. Because I would have just chalked it up to, thank God I got out of that company, don't have to deal with him anymore, but he stole my means of living. So it wasn't even like I would like to say it was this like heroic thing that I did to stand up for women, or myself at least, but ultimately I was motivated because of money, which is one of the reasons why I took that sexual abuse for so long, until it got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, you wanted your money, your last paycheck.
I needed,
and you deserved it.
Exactly. So yeah, I wish I was one of those women that was like, "Rawr, hit me! I'm gonna fight on behalf of everyone."
But Angela, I still have to give you props. Like, that's huge. You still, even though you say it was for money and to get the paycheck, you still took action in some way. And
I did.
I'm really proud of you. That takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of strength. I've always been proud of you for you having done that. I've never done that. I've never taken any action whatsoever when these things have occurred in my workplace. And I'd like to say that I have done something amazing to pave the way for women in the workplace who come behind me, but I haven't. And that's horrible, and perhaps that's why things aren't really changing for women. I feel like, we've got to do something big for women to get what they deserve, and that is to be treated just like human beings in the workplace without having to fear going into work, to be concerned or nervous or sick to their stomachs or knowing they have to play into whomever is doing it in the workplace so that they can...
So, I mean, I want to ask you, what do you think that is? Like, I don't believe it's legislation. Like, there is legislation against it, but as we've just been talking about it,
it doesn't work.
It's like it takes someone throwing themselves on a sword.
Exactly.
To help other women.
And I'm going to tell you honestly, I don't want to do that. I mean, how many times so far in my life would I have had to have done that? I mean, I would have looked like a whore. I mean, honestly, it would come back on me like, what is she doing?
Absolutely. You would be unemployable.
Oh, yeah, unemployable. No one would hire me. If I went in and I made a stink about every single time it has happened in my prior jobs, I would not have the job I have now. I mean,
no, you would have an empty resume because you would not be able to put anyone down as a reference.
Exactly.
And I think that, like, it's I don't know, like I just had this sense that people listening would up in arms about, there's this recourse, there's that recourse, but I think we're being really honest here.
Yeah, realistic.
We were being realistic about what actually happens.
And quite frankly, I have seen people go to HR for sexual harassment, and I have seen what it looks like, and it's not pretty. In the end, everybody still figures it out and finds out your name is tarnished.
Yeah.
You possibly lose your job anyway. Or, given some kind of severance to go your merry way and be quiet. And the other person I have seen the other person who was the one who did it keep his job. Continue to keep his job. I've seen that a couple of times.
Yeah, I don't think we want to be fatalistic here. But
no.
But I think it's just raising a question, like...
What do we have to do?
What do we have to do?
To make this change?
We want to stop it, obviously. Talking about it, I think, is great. I think lots of women don't talk about it.
No.
Once again, like, I think everything we're talking about, women sometimes, we're not talking about it. So let's talk about it, but it takes more than that. Like, so what are the actions that we can do? I don't know. I don't know that I have the answers. Maybe our listeners can send us some answers, something. I don't know. I don't have the answers.
Yeah, I don't think I have the answers either. I think there needs to be a movement and a discussion, an honest one. And for us to stop brushing this in, putting this under the rug. I would like to say we need to encourage everybody to go to HR when this happens, but sometimes, as we both know, HR is the person doing it.
Right.
Because you work in a small company. In larger companies, I feel like you have more backing and more support, and things are done in a very proper way.
Right. Larger corporations definitely, I think, have more of a backbone of accountability for people that work at the company.
I agree.
So I think, bravo if you have that capacity to go to someone in a company that you can almost come across as anonymous. Not anonymous necessarily, but you're not one of 40 employees and finger easily gets to point to, it's so-and-so.
You still run the risk of possibly losing your job or having your name be put through the mud because, of course, they're going to have to investigate it and interview people and do questioning, and it's going to be horrific. It's a challenge, and you're putting yourself out there. So that leads me to my next point. You're going to have to go through all of that when you go to HR or you report it. So what level does it need to get to before you can't take it anymore? I mean, what do we really tolerate? What's the breaking point where we say, I can't do this, I need to go to HR and get help?
And I deserve to keep my job. It's not like...
Exactly.
It's not to the point, like, I think what you're saying right now is, I'm not leaving. I'm not running away from this. I've had enough. I'm going to try to do something that actually will maybe help this other person who's harassing me either get help, because I think perhaps sometimes that's the course. They need help. There's a lot of sexual deviancy and sexual addiction. I think that goes along with it, i.e. they may lose their jobs. But we should not always just be the ones to drop it and go.
I guess what my point is, what I was trying to make is, I think women, we tolerate a lot, and then there's the breaking point where we can't take it, so we either quit or we go get help, or we, bring this up to our supervisor or HR. And I think, for me, I was physically touched, and I didn't go to anyone. I just quit. Like, that's it. I'm not going to handle that. I'm not going to deal with that. But there are so many little instances. I'm not being sexually harassed anymore at work. It's wonderful. It's actually quite beautiful. And
I can't even imagine.
I'm in heaven. In previous jobs, I have tolerated a lot. And, every day, like a little bit here and a little bit there. And who do I go to? And grappling with, who would I tell? And how do I handle it? And, so I guess I'll just play into it, or I'll take it a little bit, or this or that. And we shouldn't have to do any of that.
No, we should not.
And we shouldn't look like the bad guys or the people who, what did she do? And a great point that you brought up that happened to me in one of my previous positions. Somebody sexually harassed me, and it actually was something that was not even, I know this sounds weird and funny, but I didn't know about it. I know you would think that I would have to know about it, but they used me as their target. They targeted me because I was in this dress and it was very feminine, and I was at a conference, and there were things said that I didn't know were said, but somebody else heard them. One of them being, I guess, somebody had mentioned, well, I'll just go take her out back and rape her with a pool stick.
Oh, I recall this now. Yeah.
And so there was a whole hubbub behind the scenes that I didn't even know about, but then they finally did tell me. And I guess the president at the time made mention, and, you know, I didn't hear this, so I don't know, but, you know, she was wearing that red dress.
Oh, you dirty whore.
Yeah, exactly.
You
so I
dressing in that red
deserved
dress,
to be
right.
raped out back with a pool stick, which is just...
The president of the company.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And I hate to throw people under the bus, but that was what I was told. I mean, it's hearsay. Let's just put that in quotes. It was hearsay because I didn't hear it firsthand. But
Right, but it's not so
secondhand.
unbelievable.
No, it's not.
Like, I have no problem believing that he actually said that. And I think that that's another level to this that even, like, kind of straddles that line between sexual harassment and actual rape. She asked for it by what she was wearing, what she looked like, what she was saying, what she smelled like. She went home with me, she did this, she did that, she kissed me, she had drinks with me. The fine line, and there is a line between sexual harassment and then when it starts to get physical, we jump over into a whole nother topic.
Yep. But circling back around, I feel that women should be able to wear whatever they want to work. And that doesn't mean, you know, we're looking for comments or for people to cross the line. We're women. We like looking feminine. And I'm sorry, I don't feel just because we're in the workplace that we need to be in three-piece suits with ties.
No, we don't need to look like men.
No.
Because we're at work.
And I think men can handle themselves perfectly fine, even with a beautiful, femininely dressed woman in front of them at the workplace.
They definitely should be. And if they can't, then they're children.
Exactly.
Then they're children and they're the problem.
I completely agree. So the question is, again, what do we do? And how do we stop this? And I feel like it needs a movement. It needs something big. It needs something bold. The whole world needs to be woken up, and really we need to look at the fact that this happens every day in almost, I'm going to dare say, in every workplace.
Yeah.
And we're not saying anything. We're not talking about it. We don't want to lose our jobs. We don't want to cause a big mess. We don't want to drag our names through the mud. No. We don't want to look like we're floozies or we're bringing it on. I mean, integrity. You had brought up integrity. I mean, this is such about a woman's integrity.
Absolutely.
We don't want that shit on our face.
No, and
we
don't constantly put in a position where we have to compromise our integrity.
Exactly.
Constantly.
And quite frankly, Angela, I am sick of that. And I don't ever want to do that again.
I don't either, but I know I'm going to go do it tomorrow. Which,
and that's horrible.
Ladies and gentlemen, exactly. Don't use me as a role model. I'm here trying to figure it out, but I am by no means perfect in this. And what is perfect? Who knows? Like, we should be able to do whatever. Maybe some people are okay with it.
I think we need a boycott. We need a movement.
Explain a boycott.
I think we need to, and I'm just going to throw this out there. We need to get a movement going. Maybe we set the date for 6 months from now, a year from now. I don't know. Across the world, the globe.
You know, International Women's Day is March 8th.
I love it. I'm writing that down. So March 8th, you know, I'm just going to throw this out there. Every woman in the world who has ever been sexually harassed, hopefully that is a work day, March 8th.
Well, maybe it's not 2014. Maybe it's 2015.
Exactly. I say
but still at home, even if people are at home, because people don't talk about it.
Yeah. I say we don't go to work. We don't. If we've been sexually harassed ever, we don't show up for work. And we show the world
that's bold.
That's it. This is how many women are being sexually harassed or have been sexually harassed in the workplace. And without us, you wouldn't be able to operate or function.
Exactly. And to look around, it's your mother and your sister and your daughter and your best friend and your cousin. It's every woman you know, every woman you will know. So,
exactly.
So yeah, that's a great idea.
I love it. Yay! Let's get the dialogue going. Let's do it.
All right, let's keep talking about this.
We're going to keep talking about this. This is going to be a conversation we're going to keep having. I think it's that important. It's big.
It is that important. I think we should definitely build upon this, and I think everyone should stay tuned to see where this goes.
And I would love to hear from all of you. Please write us. Let us know.
This is a topic. I think there are so many different viewpoints. I think I have a feeling, as we talked about, that there's going to be a common thread between most women, but I also am curious to hear from women who receive those comments and don't feel offended, don't feel like they're being sexually harassed.
Please tell us about your experience. I would love to hear from those people too. Those women.